comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like.
We're back with the Week 8 edition of the College Football Picks alongside with Coach Hayes, Coach Farley. And here we go. Game number 1, Alabama at Tennessee. Coach Hayes.
Alabama's secondary is probably going to get tested a little bit this week for the first time this year, but Tennessee's not going to have near enough. Alabama will roll in this game.
Coach Farley.
I agree. Alabama is probably going to be able to beat half the teams in the NFL at this time. They're just too good top to bottom, and I'm picking Alabama over Tennessee as well.
Yeah, Tennessee don't have a chance, even though they're at home. Alabama will pretty much roll. Not going to be a game. Number 17, Texas Tech at number 23, TCU. Coach Hayes.
Texas Tech coming off a big win over West Virginia last week. I think they can get it done over TCU playing with a backup quarterback. So I think Texas Tech.
Coach Farley.
It's prime time for Texas Tech to have a letdown after the big win over West Virginia last week, but TCU has also struggled this year. So I'm going to continue to go with Texas Tech also, and the Tommy Tuberville spread offense is going to keep going.
Yeah, TCU struggled a lot against a lot of teams that they should be beating the crap out of this year. So I'm going to say Texas Tech handles them relatively easily, beating West Virginia pretty bad last week, actually. And Geno Smith, they got pressure on him, and ain't many people been able to do that. Game number 3, and this is a primetime game, even though West Virginia's coming off a big loss. Number 4, Kansas State going to number 13, West Virginia. Coach Hayes.
I think West Virginia will rebound and play a little bit better, but I like K-State in this game. Colin Klein will be too much for West Virginia's non-existent defense, so I think it'll be high scoring, though.
Non-existent, right. Coach Farley.
Not real sure on this one, but I'm just going to go with Dan Holgerson and the Mountaineers of West Virginia. They do have some injuries that they have from last week. I don't know how that's going to factor in, but I'm going to go with the Mountaineers of West Virginia.
Snyder, I don't know what he's done the past 2 years, but he's really got Kansas State going. He's found him a quarterback. It's a lot like Tim Tebow. You know, Colin Klein is a really good quarterback. Kansas State's defense will be enough to hold off Geno Smith, and I'm going to take the Kansas State Wildcats. Game number 4, number 6, LSU at number 18, Texas A&M. Coach Hayes.
I really like Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M. As a freshman, he's doing real well. I think he can probably put up some numbers, but I'm going to take LSU.
Farley.
I'm going with the 12th man. I think they're going to pull it out, and LSU's going to go down this week.
Out of the 2 SEC teams that did move to the SEC team, I thought Texas A&M could compete more than any Missouri. They lucked up. Missouri lucked up big time. Didn't move to the West. God, they would have been awful. Yeah, I think Texas A&M can put points up on LSU. Question is, can LSU put points up on A&M? I'm going to take LSU, even though I do think it's going to be a closer game than people anticipate. It's in A&M. If it was in Death Valley, I wouldn't give A&M a chance. Game number 5, number 7, South Carolina, going to the Swamp, number 2, Florida. 2 tough road games in a row for South Carolina. Coach Hayes.
South Carolina got a pretty good whooping last week. The score wasn't indicative of how that game really went, but I like Florida. I like Florida in their running game in this. Florida running game and defense. Florida, I think, will shut them down.
Coach Farley.
I think the old ball coach is going to have a game plan this week. They're going to rebound. Steve Spurrier is going to have them going. Javon Clowney is going to come off the edge, and he's going to set the edge well. And they're going to shut the running game of Florida down. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I just don't think the Gators can move the ball that well on South Carolina's defense, but I don't think South Carolina's going to be able to move the ball that well in Florida either. But I'm going to go with South Carolina and a rebound win from last week's letdown.
Look at this guy going against us on 3 games. As a Georgia fan that I am, I really need South Carolina to lose this game bad because, if they lose, Georgia's right back in the driver's seat. They beat Florida next week, they're in, even though they lost to South Carolina. That's a good thing for them. South Carolina's defensively has proven that they are good. I mean, LSU only put 23 up on them last week, but they couldn't get anything offensively going. Number 2, Florida's got a sick running attack. I mean, they've got so much depth at the running back position, it's not even funny. And I'm saying them being at the Swamp is going to be way too much for South Carolina to prepare for this game. Coming off a heartbreaker last week to LSU, and that's indicatively enough, they're going to the toughest 2 places to play in all football, in Death Valley and the Swamp. So I'm going to take Florida.
Indicative, huh?
Yeah. I don't even know what that word means, but I'm going to use it because it sounds good. You know. So, any final comments from either of you two? Who's Notre Dame play this week?
BYU. Go Irish.
Good defense. It'll be a defensive test for them. Coach Farley, who's Ohio State play?
Buckeyes got the Boilermakers of Purdue. Go Buckeyes.
Actually, could be a tough game for them, I think.
It may.
Purdue's actually
Urban Meyer had a
pretty good.
come to Jesus talk with the defense and defensive staff this week to get things fixed up. And Ohio State's hurting at depth right now at linebacker. They've got 2 scholarship players that they recruited playing linebacker, and the rest of them are all freshmen. So they are definitely learning on the run.
Not going to do them any good anyways. They can't go no farther in the regular season. But anyways, that's besides the point. And Georgia's playing Kentucky this week. Should be a pretty easy win. Let's hope so.
How many people have been arrested at Georgia in the past year?
That's not the point. You know, we'll just set aside that. And I'm going to say go Dogs, and we'll see you next week for the Week 9 edition.